Hey everybody, what's going on? We're here with the man, the one and only Hell Hades. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, really good. It's like mid-afternoon. I've got a cup of tea, about to have a chill. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, you got
Looking
it,
forward to
man.
this.
Living the dream. I
Yeah.
was thinking, like, what does the raid community need right now?
Mm.
What are they lacking? And it's another tier list.
Well, we don't have many out there, and yeah, yeah, we definitely need at least one more for sure. That sounds
Yeah,
good.
I figured we would tackle maybe one of the more taboo issues. We're gonna rank all of the legendary fusions since raid came out.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
do
that sounds
epics
good.
because then I'd have to make a double S tier for Relic Keeper, and I don't want to get into all that. So we're just keeping it with legendaries.
It's quite funny actually. Just looking at the different portraits we got here, it does feel like you definitely should go for fusions rather than not go for fusions. Like if I just look just generally across the board, I'm like, you know what? There's not many there which are completely trash. Um, or maybe you think there are. We'll find out.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see them all in a collective like this.
Yeah.
I've kind of forgotten how much utility there really has been available.
Mm,
So
yeah.
we'll just kind of rank them as, I guess, not necessarily which champ is the best, but the fusion over encompassing how reasonable was the fusion, what did they offer to the game at the time, just overall
Sure.
sentiment on the fusion itself, and
Okay. Sounds good.
we'll see what we end up with. So I reckon we'll just start at the top left and work our way through each portrait. So first in line is Ashlan. How you feeling about Ashlan?
I actually feel like Ashlan is brilliant. Like I really, really love this champion, especially as a fusion where it's just like accessible to anyone. Um, and I was chatting to someone else about this guy not that long ago actually, and I was saying like, does he fit in an end game team? Like a proper end game team, can he play there? And I think he kind of can, but for anyone else who's not like super end game, I think he could play like a number of roles. Um, smacks people really hard. He's the only legendary with like 100% AoE stun. He counters people like Duchess. And then if you pair him up with this other champion, if you get them, that Countess Licks,
Yeah.
wow, that combo is nuts. It's
Yeah, I'm
actually
after
crazy.
her so hard. I feel the
Yeah.
same, and I have him on the main, and I have him on the free to play, and
Do you? Yeah.
he's used very actively on both, very effectively.
Yeah. So how hard was it for you to get him as your free to play?
Not hard. I
Mm,
I had to give it my attention, but at no point did I worry that it wasn't going to happen.
sure.
I think
And
it was
that's a good test actually. It's really good you got your free to play working in that way that you're testing out these type of fusions and stuff because that's a really good, just like sentiment for people that are playing the game. But yeah, for me, like he's one of the better ones out of this group.
I agree.
Um,
I think if there's an S tier in the bunch, he has a case for it.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think he's probably the hardest hitter out of everyone as well. If you just want a straight arena damage dealing champ, there's a couple in there which would be hard hitters, but I think he's probably the biggest.
He does smack for sure. And it's not as I don't think it's as hard to get him to smack either.
No, no, the biggest difficulty with him is if you want to use everything that he does, he needs a lot of stats.
That's
He
true.
needs he needs a lot of stats in like damage stats, accuracy stats, speed. Like he needs a lot. But yeah, no, he's really cool. I really like him.
Yeah. You feeling good about
Well,
S tier?
yeah, I'll go S tier with this
All
guy. Yeah,
right, kicking
yeah.
things off with an S tier. I like that.
Even like the if you just want to go on his visual, he's pretty S
Oh my
tier just to
god.
look at as well, right?
Yeah, I think he's probably the coolest looking fusion, kind of by far. There's a
Yeah,
couple other good ones that will.
there are a couple of good ones. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I do like him though. Yeah, good addition to the game for me.
yeah, yeah. I'm on board. I'm on the Ashland train hard. All right, next we got Brackus, who's another really cool looking champ.
Yeah, yeah. He's again like aesthetics, brilliant. I really like the Halloween champs generally. Actually, they do such a good job of those.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. What's your view on Brackus?
So I like Brackus a lot. I just did a video on him recently, and he's a lot of fun. I think he can open up certain parts of the game. I think the fusion itself, though, was
Mm,
really ill timed.
yeah.
Is it not regarded as the hardest fusion they've ever put out?
But they even they even named it that, didn't they? They was
I
like,
think
"This
it,
is an
yeah.
extreme fusion." And,
Yeah.
and we're like, "Hold on a minute, we just I feel like we've just done 2 back-to-back really hard fusions," and they're like,
Yeah.
"Guys, we've got an extreme fusion." Like, "Okay,
It's like
what is this gonna be?"
I thought they were
Um,
all hard. Back in the day, they all felt unreasonable.
yeah, they did. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this guy, I mean, he was disgusting to get. You literally had to be on the game 24/7, burning gems, burning resources, and I'm pretty sure I'm trying to remember who it was after. Was it straight
Huh.
after Morley or someone?
I
It was
think it
straight
was right
after.
after Jack, wasn't it?
Oh, Jack. Yeah, it was Jack. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Which
It
was
was
another
literally like,
weird decision.
yeah, it was almost like a week or 2 after, wasn't it? It was just like,
Yeah.
bam, you've burnt everything, and now we're giving you the extreme fusion. And I got to be honest, like for me, he's a great champ. He's a great champ, but really, he doesn't feature for me in any team, um, apart from faction wars. But I find him like he can play in the arena pretty damn well and be annoying to face in the arena because he can just pop up and then one shot someone.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, cool to look at. Hits hard, fun
Very
champ,
niche,
but
though.
oh yeah, it's hard to fit in your team. And damn, what an awful fusion that was.
Man.
Uh, so yeah, yeah. I mean, if we was just rating it on the level of the fusion and how the community felt about it, it'd be like right down the bottom.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
thinking at best it's a C, but F just for the timing, and
yeah,
it feels like at the time, especially, he didn't bring much to the game.
yeah, 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 definitely. And even like now, if he's one of your only legendaries, he's probably playing in all your teams. But if
Yeah.
um if you've got a decent selection of champs by now, I think he probably sits out nearly all content. So
Yeah. What do you think? What are you feeling? C or F?
um I'm just looking at some of the other ones to come.
I
I feel
know.
like we need some room to go lower. So I'm thinking maybe a C,
I think that's reasonable.
just so that we can pop someone below, because there's definitely someone worse. I'm sure there's people worse than that.
Yeah, I think we might be on to one of those here with Killian. Poor Killian, dude.
Yeah,
I
well,
have tried. I have tried to create a case for this dude. He's just
yeah,
a little too hard to use.
yeah. I mean,
Eh,
his only place that I really like him is faction wars. Like faction wars, he can lock out enemies and stuff, but it's there used to be a time before Lydia was around. Used to be a time it's like, yeah, you can use him in faction wars. It was like a meme. It was like, you know what? That means he's terrible. That means he's like bottom tier. Um, yeah, he's. I mean, the actual
Yeah.
fusion I think was pretty easy to do.
Yeah, it wasn't
Um,
bad. It
it
was
does feel like
okay.
there's a theme with fusions as well around St. Patrick's Day that are just I don't know why they do it. It feels like they might be doing it again next week. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
really
that's
weak champions around St. Patrick's Day. Why don't they like this event? Why don't they like this?
it's just their least favorite holiday and this is how they
Yeah.
cope with it.
It's like they've been drinking before St. Patrick's Day, before they release these champs. Yeah, I mean, he's for me, he's one of the worst. He's got to be one of the worst.
Yeah, I've played around with him like an ice golem. He's just it's a little inconsistent. The good things about him are inconsistent. He can do
Yeah,
some decent damage, but it's like I don't know, the fusion it's hard. It's hard. I really wanted to make a case for this guy and I just haven't been
yeah.
able to do it.
If faction wars didn't exist, this guy wouldn't be played ever at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
yeah, too much RNG. I think it's got to be down the bottom in there.
I don't think we're gonna get much pushback on that one either. I don't think there's
No.
anybody gonna be like, Killian should be A tier. This is ridiculous.
Yep. Yep. Sure.
All right, next up we got Harvest Jack.
Yeah, I
Solid
like Jack.
champ. I do
I
too.
think Jack's cool actually. Um, like again, like aesthetics on this guy, like fantastic. I think he looks super cool, really sweet looking champ. Um, and his kits, like just really viable, kind of across a lot of different content,
It's so
especially arena.
loaded.
But um, yeah. I mean, do you use him in your accounts?
I use him in 3v3 arena occasionally. Um and earlier, I think he's pretty good for progression. I used him in a
Yeah,
lot of 3 starring Nightmare campaign. I partnered him up with Sir Nick, was kind of running the Happy Holidays squad.
nice.
Um I think he's pretty usable on a pretty wide range. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember how difficult the fusion was.
So this was one of the Halloween ones. I can't remember it as being any kind of challenge, or like an extreme challenge or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
but I don't
I'm
know if
pretty
that's
hazy on it.
because the Brackus one came out after it and just completely, like,
Blew it away.
yeah, we completely forgot anything that happened because the Brackus
It's
fusion came
all a
out, and we were like,
blur.
"What in the hell is going on?"
Yeah. But I mean, certainly he's featured in some of my main arena teams in the past when I've run kind of different hard to kill comps and been trying to lock out opponents, that type of thing.
Mhm.
I think he's mainly an arena champ in terms
Yeah.
of really offering something. But like you say, in terms of progression, he can be good. Um, I think he just sits as like a decent middle of the road legendary, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think his aesthetic does him some favors in the way people think maybe he's higher tier because he
Yeah.
is they killed it on that skin.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think when he first came out and people started to fuse him, there was a lot of uproar. And there generally is it's like this a lot because people compare HP champions to Sonic. And it's literally like,
Right.
do they hit like Sonic? No, therefore terrible champion. And
Yeah.
he was along that line. It was like, you know what, he hits for a, about half of what Sonic will hit for when he's really stacked. Is he any good? No. Well, actually, he's not really there for that. He does a load of different utility,
Yeah.
which is actually cool. So yeah, I think mid tier legendary would be fair.
Yeah, to B tier?
I think B. Yeah.
Yeah, I think B's pretty fair for him. Alright. We may hit our first bit of controversy here. I don't know your feelings on Drop Goal, but
Well,
I'm gonna
I've
push for
seen some of
Drop
your
Goal.
videos on this guy.
I am a huge fan.
Why? Tell me why. What's caused that?
Because it's all very simple, but it's so effective, and I really felt it. I felt like this on my main account, but I got to really experience it when I got him on my free to play. I use him. There's not a single piece of content on my free to play that he's not involved in. He's on every single team I use in the game, and
Really?
he the defense and offense buff together are huge. His shield and the mechanics surrounding the shield are huge. He's got an A1 stun that can be pretty clutch in certain situations. I just feel like nothing he does is wasted, and it drives me nuts that people hate him so bad because
So
I think he's so
I
good.
I mean, I pretty much disagree, but I feel like he's not as bad as I first thought he was. I still feel like he's bad, and the reason for it, right? So increase attack and defense on the same ability, love it. It's pretty rare. That means you can pair him up with anyone, and they're basically going to buff their damage, which is cool.
Mhm.
Um, I really dislike his shield mechanic. Like
Really,
if they just made it so that whenever the shield drops off, you counter attack,
that I
then
agree with.
he would be so much better and used so much more. But the
Yeah.
amount of times I tried to make him work and I just found that either the shield was just running out, like I was just like lapping turns on people, I was running through my own shield, or if I tried to use him in the arena, the shield just gets cleansed, and you're like, okay, well there goes all of his utility from that piece. Um, it was quite hard to get going in clan boss for me because it's not until you get a bit further on in the fight that it starts to work, and by that point you're getting smacked anyway. I don't know. I just felt like they were
The
so
heal from the
close.
shield is pretty huge too. There's times where I'll have someone close to death, he puts the shield on, it breaks, and they heal. Like they come back with more health than
Yeah,
they
sure.
had. So that's been pretty huge too.
I mean,
Um,
I actually this is the controversial part for me. I built him out and I properly stacked him out, trying to run him in my Faction War 21 team. And this was when I was trying to first beat Faction War 21 before they kind of nerfed it. And I had a choice of him or who's the guy that we get for free for login rewards? I think
Grush.
his name is Grush. Yeah, yeah, him or Grush. And Grush won hands down. Like it wasn't even close. I thought it was going to be close. I tried this guy first. I tried him with a bunch of different teams, and in the end, I threw Grush in and I won it straight away. I was just like, "Damn! Like, please give me something more." Um, so yeah, I mean, Yeah. I mean, where would you pitch him then?
So I'm definitely biased. I don't. My heart wants him S tier. I know I'm not going to get
S.
away with that.
Wow.
Just
Wow.
just
I thought for a
for
minute you were gonna say A, and I was gonna be like, "Whoa, dude, A, that's a bit crazy." But S.
well, I just think
Damn.
for he wasn't hard to get, and I think like he was my first fusion. My free to play was pretty new, and I was able to get him, and he just changed the game so much. You know what I mean? So in that regard, it's like I think he's so huge for that. But I guess if we're talking across the span of the game for all players, again, that's just the heart move. My heart wants him S tier. I know I can't
Yeah.
justify that.
I mean,
I
I'm we're so far apart on this one. I was thinking, like, is he better than Brack? Is he like similar to Brackus, like C? That's where I was at. I
oh
was like,
god.
I, if you're gonna punch him above Jack, I mean, we're gonna get all sorts of weird comments down
I
below if we
won't.
punch him above Jack.
I won't. I'll go B. I can. I can't.
Okay.
I can't go below B. I can. I can. I can live with a B.
Yeah, I don't think we could have gone above B because we might have just been finishing the video
This
there. That
is
would have been
this
like,
is good though. This is why it's good to have you here because I'd have put him S tier and people would have had me crucified over it.
even at B, I'm feeling like delicate right now. It feels like we've gone too far, but okay, let's
I mean, it's not a real tier list if we don't upset somebody, you know.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right.
Okay.
Next up, another interesting candidate here, El Gaius.
Yeah. So, oh, sorry, man, my dog's gone crazy.
It's all good.
Yeah. So, Elegaeus, I don't like this guy at all. I didn't really like him when he came out. I thought, you know what, he might just help some people out with Doom Tower or Faction Wars, and he kind of does. But I also feel like Epics just do the job way better. So, for me, this is one of the worst that they've released.
Yeah, on paper, before Doom Tower, I thought El Gaius is going to be huge for this, but Doom Tower just doesn't play the way I expected it to play. I don't even really know how to explain it. I had so many ideas about it from Summoner's War, the
Right.
tower and some. It's a very similar. It just everything about Raid plays so much differently than Summoner's War, and for some reason, El Gaius doesn't translate the way that I expected on
Yeah. Because
paper.
the trouble with him is when you look at his kit, like he's got some pretty cool turn meter stuff going on. He's got locking out champions, and that's cool. But when you then look at other people that do a similar thing, they just do it better. They
Yeah,
just do it more consistently. And you're trying to think to yourself, well, in that case, where would you play him? You know, you can't really play him in the arena. What's he going to do? Lock out one champion? It's like, well, you could play, an epic that does it. That's going to cost you way less in books and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like they missed the boat with this guy. I feel like they had a good chance with this guy to do something cool, and just
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like I just missed it.
There's some interesting mechanics. The strips and the not dying initially and
Yeah,
interesting things going on. It just needs some tweaks. I feel
yeah.
like
I feel like he badly actually just needs a buff. Like he's
yeah.
one of those for me that just is in that camp of he probably needs a change. And they're not. It's funny. It's a bit like for me. There's a few on here where it's just like small tweaks could actually make massive difference
Hmm.
to like how viable they are in the game. But yeah, I mean, for me, he's he's like straight down, like
Yeah.
dumped in the Fs. Like he's definitely he's meeting his pal Killian down there, and they're wondering what went wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of small tweaks drastically making an impact, Foley.
yeah.
Foley got a not a super significant buff a while back, but it just changed so much. I can't even remember what the buff was.
I can't remember what the buff was, or even when it was. He was living in my vault for so long.
Yeah.
Like after the fusion was hard. Like if we talk about fusions, it was hard. It was a draft.
Oh,
It was one of the
oh.
worst.
And then
Um,
that crap they pulled with Centurion, that was
yeah. Oh, it was.
ooh.
This was a disgusting fusion. Like this
Yeah.
is if we were just rating fusions, he's like in there with Brackus. Like
Yeah.
shocker.
I think with the Centurion thing, if it's just that, I think he's F tier because I think Foley was the worst fusion they've ever done, and it was
Mhm.
it was the first time that Plarium as a company exposed themselves
Yeah,
to the
true,
player
true.
base. Because
Yeah,
I came in really, I was singing their praises, and everything was good, and the whole Foley Fusion was looking good. All the events were easy, and everything was easy to get. And that last new champion that no one could have possibly had was like 20,000 points deep in a summon rush, and it's
yeah,
like, oh, you sons of bitches, you've
and
backed us all into this corner where we don't have a choice now.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was brutal, and I mean, on Reddit's, on anywhere, it was just people were kicking off. I
Hmm.
hated it.
It was the turning
Um,
point for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you say, true colors exposed. I mean, we didn't really get any of that. You know, these are the events that have come in type of thing back in the Foley days. I don't think we were given that type of heads up as to what was coming and where you'd find the different champions.
I don't think so.
Um, so it was all a bit of a surprise where it was like, bam, there you go. There's the last one you need, guys. By the
Hmm.
way, go and get yourself a new mortgage because you've got to spend a buttload of money on it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and the worst thing about it was when everyone then went and got him, he was terrible. Like
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Where do we use this guy? He's got nothing." Um, I don't think it was until Rotus really came out that people started to look towards like block revive champions with double hits, and he all of a sudden it was like, "Well, this guy can do that. Let's try him again." And and he'd had a buff, like you said, a small buff, I think,
Yeah.
but
I can't remember
all
what
of a
it
sudden it's
was.
like, okay, this guy is actually pretty good. Um, he hits hard. You know, he was pretty hard hitting champ. One of the harder hitting champs in the game for an AOE, certainly with block revive. So
Hmm.
I think, yeah,
Yeah, it's
right,
tough to place this one because I the fusion itself is an easy F,
yeah,
and when he
yeah,
came out, that's a thing too. Do we rate current state or when the fusion dropped?
yeah. Well, I think it's important to say to people at this point, like, even if some fusions look bad, sometimes, not often, but sometimes in this game they do improve champions, and you know, I might fall on my face when Pixie eventually gets a buff because I don't have her. It's the only one I never did. But yeah, Foley eventually came good. But even now, like, so he was when Rotus was like in his full power. I think Foley was probably in terms of a champion at that time, maybe A or S tier. He's slipped back a bit now because Rotus has played a lot less. So I think, as you say, if you were just rating the fusion, it's F. If you were rating him when he came out, maybe it's C. Maybe he's sneaking his way up to a B. Do you reckon?
Like at the current state?
Yeah, like if you wrap it all up, he's probably actually like an A tier champion. But if you throw in the fact that he was disgusting to get,
Yeah, that
maybe it's
fusion
a
was
B.
so bad. B or C?
You're rating
I'm
C.
still bitter. I'm
Yeah,
still
I know
bitter.
there'll be tons of bitter people. Yeah, yeah.
I want him at least touching that F tier.
Yeah, let's throw him in with Brackus. You know what? Brackus is in there for the same
We can
reason.
do bottom border touching the F tier. I can live with that.
Yeah.
All right, Gerp Tuck. Here's one I didn't get actually.
Oh, really?
This is when I was I think I might have been in like cruise control mode. I was just kind of hitting clan boss every day and not playing while he was out.
Okay.
So I don't have a lot of experience with him, but I know there's some interesting things to be done with him. I don't even remember the fusion, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he was pretty easy to get as fusions go. I don't think he was too bad. Um, it's a funny old champion, this one. So when he first came out, he was terrible. He killed your team too easily. He was just like basically killing your team to get the job done.
Oh yeah, they did buff him, didn't they?
Yeah, and he was one of these ones that badly needed a buff, and he did get a buff, and he got quite a decent buff actually. So he doesn't kill your team half as bad as he used to. Um, he buffs your team's damage a lot, and he's actually kind of good.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, and he's got a cleanse on him, which is pretty useful for Doom Tower as well. Um, I use him in my Spider 20 like speed farm team to just buff my damage. So I don't see him like mainstream going into every team and that type of thing, but he is actually kind of good Spider generally, just to cleanse off all those poisons and help your team out, plus buff your damage. He's kind
Okay.
of good in Doom Tower, Faction Wars. Like, yeah, I feel like he's like a half decent legendary now.
Okay. So he's good in spider teams that aren't speed teams too. Like he can help sustain.
Yeah, so he can be your
Hmm.
kind of healer stroke cleanse,
Okay.
which is pretty because it's a single target cleanse, I think, off the top of my head. Pretty sure it is. And you get a heal at the same time. So that person that's tanking up all the damage, clear all those poisons off, heal them up. Um, pretty sure that's what his skill was. But yeah, he definitely gets some more airtime now. Definitely like it's funny when you get a champion that was so bad when they came out. A lot of people just write them off, and
Mm-hmm.
they probably don't even realize they've got someone sitting in their vault now that's actually pretty decent. Um, he's also got a AOE block buffs, which again, there's not that many champions. Like book him up, 100% chance to block buffs when you're running Doom Tower waves. How many champs do we run into that have got like 3 buffs, and it takes you
Yeah.
what a week to try and kill them? Um, so this guy, I think there's only him and maybe 3 or 4, 5 or so other champions that do that skill. Not many AoE 100%, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and he's got good base stats. He's decent now. He's decent now. People keep him in the vault. I think he's actually good. Um,
So not too
yeah,
hard to get and pretty good now.
yeah. Like if you just rated him when he came out, I mean, he'd be straight in that F bucket. It'd be like Killian, what went wrong? But they did change him. They did change him. So it's a tough one. Like he's got to be for me a middle of the road. I think.
Okay.
Um, like perhaps up there with the Bs.
Okay.
It could even sneak into an A.
It sounds like it. Based on how easy it sounds like he was to get. I think that plays a pretty big part.
Yeah, I think he could sneak into the A's now. Since they changed
Yeah?
him, he's definitely like way more viable than people give him credit for. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe this will be a good PSA for him too. Maybe some people get him out of the vault.
People might be like, oh yeah, he has got 100% block buffs. Like it's such a good skill now, especially with the amount of waves we deal with that are just throwing up, Seafy waves and Duchess waves, and all those sort of people that just so annoying to kill.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and even people use them in like plat level arena now. So the
Really?
skill that does is AoE block buffs. It's the same skill that boosts your damage. So you're throwing your block buffs out at the same time, boosting your damage dealers. And if you're up against the Seafy waves or the Duchess waves in the arena, stops all of their abilities, bout waves, all that type of stuff.
Well, yeah, now I'm more upset that I didn't get him. I was just upset because I wanted to play around with him in a speed spider setup. Now I'm legit kind of upset.
Yeah, he's actually like genuinely not bad now. Genuinely not bad.
All right. Well, maybe one of these days I'll get one. All right.
Right.
This is I keep getting them mixed. This is Iron Brago, right?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
Brago.
I've heard a lot of great things, and I missed a fusion, but I pulled him recently, so I am going to get to play around with him. But I've heard
So
nothing but good things.
you didn't manage to stay on your free to play, no?
No, I believe. How long ago was this fusion? When did this one happen?
This was quite recent. We're talking a couple of months ago.
Was it January, February?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure it
Okay.
was maybe Jan.
Okay, yeah. January and February were rough as far as time. So I think I just didn't have the time to give to the game to finish a
Okay.
fusion at that point. So I missed
And
him.
this was a fragment collector. Again, like I feel like the fragment collectors generally are a little bit easier to get in terms of, you're not having to do all of that work around potion
Yeah,
farming, ascending all of the other like in terms of just time, if you can do the main events that they pop out at the time they pop out, get your fragments at that point, then you don't have to do a ton more work after it. So originally I was probably not that pro the fragment stuff, but more and more I like it. I just wish they would have top up events, a bit like they've done over the last couple of weeks, but less ropey than the last couple of weeks.
yeah,
Um, yeah, or they just kind of get some sort of dust system so that you can, let's say you've overflowed on Kreela, you can turn that into a dust that helps you with Iron Braga if you've only got 80 of Iron Braga or something.
yeah. That's a great
Um,
idea.
but yeah, this guy, I mean, he is really good. If you think that Drakul gives you a carry, this guy is like the ultimate carry. He's carrying everyone on his shoulders, no problem at all.
That's what
He's
I'm
literally
hearing.
he's walking down the road. He's like, yeah, we got them all. He's so good. He smacks really, really hard. He gives everyone a chunky amount of defense. You can play him basically anywhere in the game. Like, I really, really rate this guy. Such a good champion to pick up on a fusion.
I've even heard people saying that he's changed their clan boss team drastically, depending on
Yeah,
where they're at
well,
in the game.
he's been in like my personal record team for Clan Boss. I
Oh,
think I did like
really?
107 mil with him. Like because
Wow.
basically you stack his defense up and he's giving everyone 10% of that defense. So you can lower your damage dealer's defense requirements down, boost their damage up, and still have enough defense to kind of cope with the different levels of Clan Boss. So yeah, he's really like absolutely totally solid champion. Plus he gives you increased defense 100% of the time. Like
Wow.
that's huge. That's basically it's basically like just pumping your defense number up as a given. Um, yeah, really like this guy.
You think an S tier?
He's S tier for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel
I
like I
think
can't
he's
argue it. I haven't heard one single person say anything bad about him, and that's saying something in Raid.
yeah. There's probably only like 3 or 4 that I would throw straight into S tier, and he's definitely he'd be like maybe my favorite, if not like definitely he's like a top 3 for me for sure. Out of fusions.
Okay. I might have to expedite him a little bit and just play around with him on the main account then.
Mm. Yeah, he's worth a look for sure. Like can jump into teams easy.
Okay. All right. Next up, we got old Kantra. Kantra the Cyclone.
Yeah, Kantra. What do you think on Kantra?
She's interesting. She's definitely good in faction wars, which again is kind of the meme. But I actually realized one time that I was using her in my faction when I was farming 21, my Barb team, and I had forgotten that I had taken every piece of gear off of her, and she would still be alive at the end of the runs. And I remember one day going like, "Why are my runs taking so much longer?" And I went and checked her. She's completely gearless, but still surviving the entire run.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's got to say something.
I mean, I think I think she's not given as much love as she deserves sometimes. She is super good at tanking up a spider for you. I think she might be the only champion in the game. I'm not sure, but she might be the only champion that can place debuffs on weak hits. And
Hmm.
like her passive, if anyone's got Kantra and you've not really read her passive recently, reread it. There's so much in her passive. It's actually kind of crazy. She's got the ability to place debuffs on weak hits, and her A2 places a load of debuffs. If there's more than 5 debuffs out there, she places provoke on enemies. She heals when they drop off. She takes less damage when debuffs are out there. Like there's so much in a kit. Um, I've seen a lot of people. I've not done it myself, but I've seen a lot of people use her for Doom Tower to just basically go out there and be like AoE hitter, provoke champion, you know, debuffer. And because she doesn't place weak hits, or she can still place a debuff on weak hits, she's actually just kind of like carrying the waves, those kind of in between the boss fights. She does a
Mm-hmm.
ton. She can also keep that provoke up on the magma dragon pretty much the whole time, as long as you've got a few debuffs in your team. So yeah, I think she's really solid. Um, I only really originally used her for Spider, like a Spider tank, because she
Yeah.
was very good for that. But I think she's actually a bit better than that. She can play again like pretty consistently across the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's just so much utility that she offers on an AoE scale. It's hard to not take her somewhere and have her do well.
Yeah,
And
she
the spider
tackles
tank
pretty
thing
hard.
is huge.
Yeah, I mean, if I had not even thought about her at all, I probably would be gunning for an A tier for her. She's like borderline S tier, I think, but maybe
Really?
not quite good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I feel like she's definitely an A. She's got to be popping up around that sort of area.
I can get with A. I don't have a yeah. I'm not as familiar with her as you are, for sure. I threw her
Yeah,
in a
and
faction wars team and it just really impressed that she can do it naked.
yeah, I
It's
mean, honestly, her and Seal the Drakes in Faction Wars, those two together, level 21, done. That's literally like you don't need any more than that. Those
yeah.
two are so good. So yeah, I think she kind of complemented the barbarian faction, which at the time was really weak.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, and she was reasonable to get. I think she might have been an old school fusion, but was she the one where you could use champions you already had?
I
I
think
think she might have been.
I think so. One of the last ones, I think.
Yeah,
Y-
which actually, like, just makes it feel so much better.
yeah. Yeah, they've done
If
a
you
pretty
if
good
it
job of buffing up the Barb faction, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Okay.
All right, this is old Kreela.
Yeah.
Old Kreela. She seems like she's been getting a little bit more love the last like couple of months. She's popping up more and more, I've noticed.
I mean, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of Kreela. I The only thing I don't like is what they did with her books. Like, so you have to book her. I think it's her A2, whatever her ally attack is. You have to book it, or there's a chance she won't ally attack. So the
Oh, that's
main part of
stupid.
a skill, a main part of a kit, yeah, her A2, 20% chance she's not going to do it unless you book her.
Oh, that's terrible.
I mean, whoever designed that just literally should be like taken outside and shot. It's maybe not shot, but
Just shot in
it's
the
like,
leg.
yeah, 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 that's it. Just like a
Just
flesh
wing
wound or
them.
something. But
Yeah.
oh man,
That is
she
really bad. That's a very awful.
it's an awful thing to do. Like, okay, if you've got a skill where it's like, you know what, 'cause she's got a stun on the same ability. Yeah, if it was like 50% chance to stun, but you book her up, it becomes 75. You know what? We can live with it.
That's
It's
normal,
fine.
yeah.
But to not do the main thing that she does if you don't book her,
Yeah.
she's useless without books. Well, not useless because she's still actually kind of good, but 80% chance, when it doesn't go off, it's
Yeah.
literally like, pass me the milk. I need to cry. Yeah,
I
it's,
hate it when a champ has a chance to buff or do a positive thing.
mm,
That's always rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, no, if
yeah,
they're gonna do it, it's not a debuff. It needs to happen. I hate that crap.
yeah. No, I agree with that. But the thing with Kreela is she smacks. She hits really hard. Um, and she's one of the best ally attackers in the game. Certainly for like clan boss teams, she's probably the best. Like
Hmm.
Longbeard and her neck and neck, but she puts out increased crit, increased attack at the same time. She basically lets you build your whole team with like 70% crit rate if you're trying to do damage. I see
Hmm.
her in a lot of unkillable teams. Um, yeah, I am a big fan. I think she's really strong. She's certainly, I mean, she hits harder than any of those ally attackers by a long way. Um,
How bad was the fusion? I'm not remembering
so
hers very
she was
well.
she was a fragment.
Yeah.
She Was she the first fragment collector? I think she was the first legendary fragment collector. So no one really knew what was going down with it. There was a lot of upset generally because it was a fragment and no one really knew how that was going
Yeah.
to play out. I think she was actually kind of easy-ish to get. Um, they certainly rubbed people up the wrong way when someone got like 80 and it's like, oh, by the way, here's a pack. 20 quid for every 10 extra fragments.
Yeah, they are
What'd you
proud of
say?
those fragments.
And it was the first one. So I remember asking the question, like, "Are we going to be able to get more fragments?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, of course, no worries.
Of course.
20 bucks."
How much you got?
Yeah. How much should it? I even had people send me screenshots. Yeah, I needed 50, so they sent me an offer for 50. It's like $100. It's like, dude, it's like, what are you doing? You're embarrassing yourselves.
uh,
Um, yeah, but I mean, in terms of quality of champion, I think she's S tier. I think she's S.
really?
I honestly think she's S.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I'll let you take the
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to get a load of flame down below, but I feel like she's S tier.
I mean, if she was, I do remember. So I missed her too. This was another fusion that happened where I wasn't really paying attention. Um, and I remember people saying like, "How did you not get her? It was so easy." I was like,
Yeah,
"Well, because I
people thought it was
wasn't
going to be
playing."
hard and it was this new system, but actually it turned out it was much easier than the old fusions. So this is what almost converted people to like, you know what? We kind of like these now.
Yeah,
Actually, maybe these can stay. But yeah, I think she was kind of okay to get. The only reason why I might pull her out of S is just because of that book thing.
that book thing is gross.
It's pretty
That's
big. Like if I was just basing it on that, she'd be an F. It's like that is it's a disgusting thing to do. It's maybe we should pop her in an A for that.
You think A? Think it pulls her down a little bit?
Yeah, because everyone else on here so far you can use without books, and
Yeah,
she is kind of annoying without books. But it's not
I
that you
think
couldn't
that
use
feels.
without books, but it's like it's so upsetting when you see a user ally attack skill and no one else attacks.
Mhm.
It's like really like it hits me. It hits me hard. Um, yeah, I think A's fair. I think A's fair.
Okay, that feels like it looks fitting. They belong so far by themselves, I think, up there.
Yeah,
All right, Molly. Good old Molly.
yeah.
She was one that I think
I
it took
liked
people to
her.
a while to come around on.
Yeah, I remember first getting her, and I used her as like a spider tank because she had that provoke, and she boosted turn meter of everyone else. And it was before it's before we had loads of options for spider. Spider was bloody difficult. It was really difficult to beat. And if you didn't have that AoE HP burn, you're like, damn, how do we even beat Spider 20? Um, and she changed the game for me a bit because she gave everyone else in my team a bit of time to get the job done. So she was able to tank up the spiraling. She was boosting turn meter of other champs at the same time. Um, but yeah, I mean, once I then kind of transformed into a better team, she did sit in the vault for a long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's starting to come out again. I mean, she's come out for me for arena teams that counter hedgy.
Mhm. I use
So she's
her
like
a lot in arena.
you do, yeah.
Yeah.
She's probably the only direct hedgy counter champion in the whole game. I think, like a proper one. There's options that you can kind of throw in and have a chance. I think she's the only guaranteed hedgy counter.
It's fair.
But I don't see her played a lot, like really. And she's good for faction wars in terms of she's got a revive as well. But I don't really see her played anywhere else than that.
Yeah. I don't hear about her much in dungeons.
No,
Arena, she's pretty killer. Faction War 21, she's huge. I think she,
yeah, she is big there.
especially before the nerf, she was almost necessary for it.
Yeah, and even getting to 21 because those dwarves were struggling for champions, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah, they
So
were.
yeah, but like other content because she's such a weak hitter that like she doesn't bring enough utility to make up for that little tap she does with her sausage. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm struggling to give her an argument for more than B, even though some people like endgame players that use her in arena would throw her in an S for sure
Yeah.
because she's the only hedgy counter, and there's so many like hedgies in endgame arena. But for the average player, I can't see them using her in a lot of content. She's a
Yeah,
bit of a one trick.
it would be interesting to know what kind of impact she would have as an early pull.
Mm,
If she would actually push you further into any content. I'm sure she would a little bit, but I think any legendary because they're just easier to build and
yeah, yeah.
but
If you look at
yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. Where would you put her?
That's really tough. It seems like A is the spot, but I agree that I don't know if that's just because of how good she is at a couple of things makes it feel like she deserves to be higher.
Yeah. I must say that, like, once you push towards the end game, even if you're free to play, whatever, you do start having teams that specialize in different areas, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, these are the champions I've built to be my dragon team. This is my fire knight team. Even if it's epics and rares, doesn't matter. You do start to have a team, and often you might only have one or two champions that kind of cross over between those teams, and you start to just kind of build a roster that says, right, this is the team that does this for me. Um, and she is like an out and out specialist for the arena for me and for a lot of people, I think. So I'd feel bad to put her anything lower than A, I think, because for the job she does, she's one of the best.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think A is a good spot. I
Yeah.
think A is a good spot. Yeah, that feels right. That feels like it looks right. Kind of surprised how even it's
Yeah, I was
turned
thinking
out to
that as well,
be.
actually. Yeah. So is that the way you've fixed it? So that's the way they go in.
All
um.
right, poor old Pixneal.
Oh my lord, what is this champion?
So cool
What is
looking.
this? Yeah, she looks really cool. And I know we was excited because she was like the Christmas fusion,
Yeah,
and historically the Christmas fusions were really good. Um, yeah, man. It's the only one I didn't do out of all of these.
yeah.
Where if I was playing the game at the point, it's the only one I haven't done, and I'm pleased I didn't do it.
I'm still happy she's not taking
I'm,
up space in my
yeah,
vault.
yeah. I just don't get this champion at all.
I've got
What's
a.
your? Did you have her? Did you
I,
get her?
I did. I got her on both accounts, and I haven't done anything with her. And I have a. There's a
You got on
bitterness in
both?
me to her. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I did the fusion on my free to play, and like 2 days later, she was the first legendary I ever summoned from a shard on my free to play.
Ah, no.
Like the odds of it, I don't even want to know the mathematical odds of it, but so there's definitely a sourness to her for me for that reason.
Yeah, I bet.
Um, yeah, I just don't know what you do with her right now.
Yeah. I it almost feels like you need 2 of her to make her kit make any sense.
Yeah, it's almost mandatory that she's paired with someone that suits her.
Yeah. I just feel like I don't feel like she's a legendary. I don't feel like what she does is legendary at all. She doesn't hit particularly hard. She's got an average to bad kit. She's on the must be buff list to me. She's
Yeah, I think she's
just got to sit down there with Elegaeus.
with this crew.
Yeah. This group, they're like, "Wow, what happened? We we were all over YouTube for a while. What happened?"
All right, next we got Rosin. Uh,
This guy's a
I'm a
beast, right?
huge advocate for Rosin. All of it. I think Rosin was the perfect champ for the permanent fusion. My only complaint is that Rosin is it's not a farmable fusion. I think
Yeah.
it needs to
Yeah,
be
that's true.
more accessible. It's because the fact that you have to pull everyone that's needed still mostly means you might as well just have to pull Rosin.
Mm.
So that irks me.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one though. Like over time, so when I was doing my free to play account, I was almost like, forget he exists. But every time you see one of those champions pop up, one of those rares pop up from a mystery shard pool, or whatever, just throw him in the vault. Just keep hold of him for now, and then you know, give it 3 4 months. You might have most of the pieces to start pulling him together. It is annoying. It's annoying that you can't properly go after him.
Yeah.
It's still RNG as to when you kind of get yours, but when you do, this guy just like unleashes all
Yeah.
sorts of hell, doesn't he?
I
He's a
think
very cool champ.
I think Rosin is an easy S tier on this one.
Yeah, he's. I love that he's accessible. I love that he can kind of play anywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, literally
Yeah,
everywhere, and contribute heavily.
yeah.
Like can
It's
be
hard.
huge.
Yeah, yeah. Really like it. Like Spiderling tank again, one of the better ones in the game. Smacks his way through the arena if you build him right.
Yep, all
Massive
tiers.
damage in clan boss. Like, yeah,
Yeah, just huge all over.
yeah. Big champion. Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
even know if they meant to nail that the way that they did, making Rosin permanent fusion. I don't know if they just kind of hit the jackpot with that decision, or if they knew what they were doing. But I think that was one of the better options in the game.
So did they do that after Brackus or did they do that after Foley? Might have been after Foley actually. I feel like it was wow, we have dropped an absolute clanger with Foley. We need to sweeten the deal and they turned that on.
I
Pretty sure
think
that's when it went
so.
down.
That seems about right.
And it was a great decision.
Great
Like,
decision. One of the better
yeah,
decisions they've made for sure.
yeah, for sure. Man.
All
Yeah, it's
right.
cool.
The infamous Rotos.
Yeah, this guy.
This is an interesting story here. Started
And
out so good.
he was so hard to get as well, wasn't he? He was pretty difficult to get as a fusion.
Yeah, I don't think I got him either. I
I
finally
think
pulled him on my main recently, but
I think they had like some champions that you could only get from tournaments like dragon tournaments, and the percentage chance to get them was really low. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he was very tough to get.
yeah,
And
wasn't
when he
there?
first came out, he was just like busted. So
Oh god,
ridiculous.
yeah.
So ridiculous.
Was he
Um,
the one where you had to win some tournaments to get some of the epics? Didn't that
could have
happen
been that.
once?
Yeah, it could have been that. Or it was certainly you had to do some summoning events to get the epics. Like you had to top tier some of the summoning events for
Yeah,
sure.
something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was difficult to get. And if you were one of those few that had Sifi as well, man, that was such a stupid combo.
Such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, yeah. He literally like he could be the only one standing and just wipe out a whole team, no problem.
Yeah,
You there was never a point where you weren't afraid if you were fighting one. It's
and
like
the
at any
extra
point it could
turns, man.
explode. Yeah,
He
and
still
that was
does
the
it to
point
me
as well.
sometimes.
Well, that was when Relentless Set could proc additional extra turns, wasn't it? They literally nerfed Relentless Set because of this guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, when he came out, he was beyond S tier. He was like in his own league.
Mhm.
Um, I have seen him being played quite a lot again in Plat tier Arena reset now.
I've had a few rock my world in the last couple of weeks. I don't know what people have figured out as far as how to build him, but I feel like he's hitting like he used to.
But he still he was still hitting hard. The main thing about him is he doesn't block revive for like an age. It's almost like he doesn't have a
Yeah.
block revive anymore. But he can still one shot two people back to back, no problem.
And then yeah, the extra turns. I went against one the other day that got like 5 turns in a row. I was like, "What is how? How is it still happening?"
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, he's still decent, and like he's still in a lot of people's ice golem teams because of that block revive. Um, I think he's now at a proper level for him. Like he's not ridiculous anymore. He's still got maybe they nerfed him a bit hard, but he's still good. He
It
is still
seems like
good.
if you know what you're doing with him, he can still be effective because he's definitely hurt my feelings a couple times in arena lately.
Yeah. I mean, where would you pitch him then? Because like when he first came out, he's easily S tier.
Yeah. Yeah. Um he might be on par with the same kind of argument we made for Molly. Like he's got the things he's good at and there's not many people that do it like he does it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how
Quite a
widespread.
specialist.
Yeah. I think maybe he's probably on tier with Molly.
Yeah, I think I could rock with that.
Okay.
I think that there'll be a lot of people down below in comments that might say he should just be flung straight into S. But I think A is probably right because again, it's like specialist role. He's a specialist role and he's not in every single team anymore, which he used to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair.
Okay. Shamrock.
What's your view on this guy? I wasn't around when this fusion happened, actually, so
I
I
wasn't
wasn't playing
either.
the game.
I just
Mm,
played. I started playing right after it happened,
yeah.
and I know people used to hate his guts.
Oh, he was on every meme. Like every meme. When I first started playing the game, he was on every single meme about dodgy champions.
He's one
Him
of the
and
3
Warmother.
champs I listed at the end of the first DJ RNG track.
Yeah,
Mashaled, Shamrock, Yannicka.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, he was definitely one of the memes of the game. They've buffed him up a bit, and he seems more interesting. I still don't really know. I don't hear much about him. He pairs with Seer. That's about all I ever hear about him.
Yeah, I think he's still. I think he's actually better than people give him credit for, but not good enough to really force his way into teams.
Yeah,
So he does a bit of turn meters like speed manipulation. He's got a bunch of buffs, but even after his like September buff, I still don't feel like he's good enough to get in most people's teams. He might come in as a support for someone if that's kind of like their main legendary and they're struggling for champions. But I
yeah,
think as soon as you've got a few champs under your belt, he probably doesn't feature a lot.
yeah.
So
I think the buff
I mean,
probably saved him from F tier.
yeah, yeah. I mean, certainly when he first came out, he
Oh
would be
god.
slamming that F tier hard. He'd be like he'd be leading the crew down there. But He probably sits with the Brackus group, I think.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I think C. I think the buff gave him a little bit of a nudge up. He's not quite on par with this crowd down here, but
Yeah, yeah.
all
I think
right,
that's fair.
Sir Nick.
Whew,
Feel like
Sir
it's.
Nick. I mean, he's almost got his own tier, this guy, just
I
because of how
know.
easy he was to get.
God, yeah. If I didn't have him on my main account, I would. I don't know how I would ever get over the fact that I wasn't playing when that happened.
Yeah. So I've pulled him as well, actually. I've got him now. And he was also part of this event, wasn't he, to try and win a Sir Nick?
Yeah, that's
Where
right.
people went hard and rightly so. He's such a good champ. But people, I remember Saf
Oh,
got over
God, poor
a hundred
Saf.
thousand points and ended up with a
Jingle
Jingle Hunter.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So that was brutal. But yeah, in terms of a fusion, I mean, he's top class.
I
Like,
don't. Yeah, I don't think there's any case to be made for.
no, he
We
just
almost have to
smacks
make him his own
people.
tier.
Yeah, he's so good. So good. Smacks people all over the place. Massive shields. Unkillable from clan boss runs. Like, it's so much he can do. Yeah, great champ. Lots of
Yeah.
fun as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I use him in arena quite a bit as well, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right.
Easy S tier, that one. Easy
Yeah.
S tier.
Yeah. Skull Lord. The memeiest fusion I think they've ever done.
Yeah. I feel like the concept of what they did for him in terms of farming, like farmable rares, was clever. I think that's something that which I actually kind of liked.
I liked it. I liked
Um,
it.
I think his actual kit was just dumb. I still think it's pretty dumb. Like, he's played. He's played in like stupid arena defensive teams where you
Yeah.
can't kill him. But and he's actually kind of okay for faction wars, but I don't know. I just wish I wish his passive was not to just revive um Skullsworn. This
Yeah.
terrible rare that nobody uses. And then he's got another passive which is completely useless as well. So it kind of buffed his kit into all these things which just don't even exist in the game, basically.
Right.
Um, you could write any words against those passives because they don't activate ever. So
Mhm.
what's the point? Um, and because of that, he's got to be kind of low ranked to me.
We think he's in the Killian crowd?
I feel like he's in the Killian crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
just
know
don't know.
there's gonna be these people down below that are like, you don't know the game. This guy, he's like top tier, that arena defense. And yeah, we do get it. We do know the game,
Yeah.
but he's
Yeah.
such a meme. He's so specific just to that arena
Very
defense.
specific. I think you've gotta have really good gear. Uh, I
Yeah.
enjoyed the meme of the fusion, and I like that it was all farmable, so there's some brownie points there. But there's also the issue that sometimes the drop rates can be out of this world.
Mm.
I've personally
I was
spent
really
over.
lucky. I was
Yeah?
so lucky. I got so many quick. I was just like, wow, this is not that difficult to do. And I got all of the ones I needed in relatively low amount of energy compared to what I was seeing other people say. I was so lucky with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm no stranger to dropping 2,000 energy and not seeing a champ from a campaign stage.
Yeah.
Like,
See, I
it's
feel like I dropped a couple of thousand. And I just kind of raked in everything I needed. I was like, wow, this is so. I did it within a couple of days or something. And then there's other people that are in my clan. I'm like, I've only got two. We need 16. What's going on? I was like, wow, what? I've done
yeah.
it.
Dang,
Yeah. And
sorry.
yeah, he actually or he has really good stats. Like his
Mhm.
base stats are good, but his multipliers are just in the dirt. They're terrible.
He's just such a
So
meme. It's hard to take him seriously, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's fair. Throwing him in the F's good.
All right. Tormund.
Ooh, Tormund's an interesting one.
Yeah, maybe the most infamous
Probably.
fusion,
Yeah.
aside from Foley for different reasons, but
I mean, he's certainly.
t-
There's nobody else has broken the game like
I was
Tormund.
going to say no one's changed the game like Tormund.
And he was blatantly just brought in to try and kill the speed meta, wasn't he?
Mhm.
And in fairness, he did. He also killed the game quite a bit in terms of just like it ended up just being like a freeze off. It's like how many
Yeah.
people are frozen now? How many more? Um, and he has changed the game in the effect of everybody farming up immunity gear now and using it as like some of their main sets. Um, he actually hits really hard. He's part of my arena defense. I've got him smacking really
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, I
I really
use
like
him.
him as a champ. I think he's a fun champ, but I just don't like how RNG is.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy RNG focus, isn't he?
He is. It might be because Summoner's War has warped me, but I'm in a strange way I enjoy elements of RNG in PvP.
Mm.
In the same way that it'll make me want to throw my phone out the window. I also think it adds to the experience. Um, so he's definitely like the MVP of that.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
he
a
can
tough one to
cause some
rank.
clutch moments,
Yeah.
um, and he can also be one of the most frustrating people to play against.
Hmm.
But outside of the arena, I mean, he's actually pretty good for faction wars. He's um he's pretty useful for just like general progression.
Yeah, he's
AoE
gonna lock down
provokes.
waves for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and he's tanky, and he's a good champion actually. So where would I pitch him though? I mean, I really don't know.
I know it's hard. I don't know if I can. I think A for sure.
I wonder if there's anyone played more if you've got him. Razin's probably the most played out of all of these. If you own all of them, I reckon he might be up there as like the second most played if you own him.
Tormund.
Tormund, yeah, just because if you've got him, he's probably in your arena team somewhere.
That's true. I almost never don't use him in arena.
I think he's got to sneak his way into S tier.
I do. Yeah.
If you think about the controversy about how they did that fusion was another pretty nasty one.
Hmm.
Around Christmas as well, and like people were like, "Can we ever see our family?" And Brave like, "No, no, no, this is Christmas."
Void potions.
Um,
Get him.
yeah, yeah, but in terms of changing the game, I don't think anyone's changed the game like him. Yeah, I think he's got to throw in an S tier, and I don't think anyone else is used as much as he's used.
Yeah. And I don't feel the same way as far as like the fusion being hard or bad as I do about Foley. I feel like it was
No,
hard,
no,
but it just fit
it was more time
differently.
of year than
Yeah.
like properly disgusting. Yeah,
Yeah. I think S tier is fair for that. All right.
so
And
one more,
last but
the
certainly
Mount.
not least, Vergum Car.
Yeah, what is this champion? Um,
I don't hate Vergum Car like everyone else does.
do you not?
I don't.
I honestly,
But
go on.
I also get it. I understand why people hate him.
I just don't know where you use him. I thought he was built to compete in Doom Tower. I thought it's going to be specifics around Doom Tower that you need this guy for, or he's going to dramatically like help you. And it didn't really play out that way for me.
Yeah, beyond I have putting him in a shield set for Scarab Boss is you're done. Like that's great. Beyond that, I just don't know. Sort of I thought maybe he would have some niche arena use, but I don't know. It's really
Mm.
Scarab Boss.
I feel like, where would he sit? So for me, I can't see him much above that C.
No, I can't either. I can't see
I
him go
can't
above
say
C.
I use if we're comparing him to who's in the Bs right now, I use the people in the Bs way more than I use this guy. Even like, the thing is, I use Foley and I use Brackus, but I definitely don't use this guy. I wonder if we've done a bit of a misjustice. We've done that because of how hard their fusions were, right?
Yeah,
That's
Foley
that's
just
that's what we got to think
has
about. Yeah,
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 and then Brackus, yeah, the timing.
yeah. So maybe he's got to sit with those guys. Do you think in the Cs?
I I could be convinced to put him in F.
Oh, you're okay. Good, because
If
that's
you
where I was going.
I
I
was gonna
felt
say
like
if you think
you were trying to talk me out of that.
I can't really argue him out of F. It's like there's one thing he's got a boss. It's like you know what I mean.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
does some other stuff. There's yeah. It's like one
Very
thing.
niche, like arena thing. But no, in that case, throw him in the F because that's where I was going.
Okay,
I felt like
yeah.
you were loving him a bit more than that.
No,
Um,
I he's one that I kind of want to make a case for. Um, and I'm having a harder time doing it than I thought I would. Kind of the Killian syndrome. Like I want Killian, I want him to get to shine, and it's just hard to make happen.
yeah, definitely, definitely. What's interesting though is, I mean, obviously other people don't have their own views and stuff, but basically we're on a straight half are S tier or A tier, and probably half you probably don't use. I don't know. Maybe that's unfair. Maybe you use more. And I think you probably use more than you don't use with fusions.
Yeah, I'll say I use only because I don't have him. I use everyone in the S tier often, very often.
Yeah.
I don't. I use Molly pretty often, Cantra occasionally. The others I don't use much. Drock I use very often on the free to play. Harvest Jack I use a bit on the main. And then down here it starts to get a little.
Gets a bit ropey towards the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
think
interesting to do, though,
that's
man.
I think that's an and I think it turned I'm gonna be really interested to see the feedback. Who's mad
Yeah.
and what are you mad about? That's what I'm interested to see.
Where did we get it wrong, guys? Where did we get
Yeah.
it wrong? Let us know.
Yeah, definitely let us know. But that's it, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to do this. It's nice to get together and just shoot the shit with you a little bit, man.
Yeah, it's cool stuff, man. Thanks for having me on again. It's always fun to do this sort of thing. It's always good to get someone else's opinion, especially when you're like, sometimes it's hard encoded in you. You're like, you know what, this champion's rubbish, and just getting someone else's view on it sometimes quite enlightening. So yeah, it's cool. Thanks,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah, we appreciate you watching. Of course, I'm going to link all the Hell Hades stuff below, like anybody here doesn't know who he is. But be sure and go show him some love. That's it. We'll see you guys later.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys.